All right, let's dive in. Today, we're cracking open Wayne Sutton's Secrets of Instant Rapport.
Ooh, yeah, that one's been getting a lot of buzz.
Exactly, it's all over Amazon, and for good reason. We're going to break it down, pull out the good stuff so you can use it to connect with, well, anyone, really.
I love it. We're going deep today, not just skimming the surface. We're talking about real, genuine connection, the kind that makes a difference.
Absolutely. And, I'm really glad you're here to guide us through this one. You've got this incredible ability to connect the dots, to see the bigger picture, plus you're full of stories. And I have a feeling with this book, stories are going to be key.
Well, right off the bat, the dedication grabbed me. For the dreamers, the visionaries, and the builders.
Wow, that's powerful.
Right, like he's talking directly to our listeners. The people who know that to make things happen, you got to build strong relationships.
It's not just about rapport in a general sense, is it? It's about harnessing it to actually achieve something.
Nailed it. And what I really appreciate is that Sutton isn't talking about manipulation or, some slick sales tactic.
Got to be genuine, right?
100%. It's about really understanding and connecting with people authentically, creating those bring them back kind of relationships.
Bring them back. That's interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, I did a little digging, and the word rapport actually comes from 17th century French, and you know what it means, to bring back.
No way.
It's true, and that just clicked for me because it highlights the lasting impact of strong rapport. It's not a one-time thing. It's about building relationships that have staying power.
Wow. I never thought about the word that way. So it's not just about being charming. It's about a connection that really endures.
You got it. And Sutton digs into some practical techniques for building that kind of rapport. One thing that stood out to me is the difference between relatability and commonality.
Okay, I'm curious now. What's the distinction?
He uses this great anecdote about a contractor trying to land a new client.
Oh, I think I remember this one. Instead of like a hard sell, he invites him to coffee.
That's the one. He just wanted to chat, understand the client's needs, what they envisioned for their home.
So he was relating to them as a person, not just a potential sale.
Right. He was building relatability.
Yeah.
But then Sutton takes it a step further with commonality. It's not just relating to their situation. It's about those shared goals, values, that deeper level.
It's like moving from I get you to we're in this together.
Yes. That's the common ground where real trust takes root.
Relatability gets your foot in the door. Commonality seals the deal. I like it. What else is crucial for solid rapport?
Sutton is big on respect and trust. He's got these powerful stories, like there's this head of an investment firm losing employees left and right.
But big salaries, right? You'd think people would be happy.
You'd think. But the issue wasn't the money. It was respect. The boss got so focused on results, he forgot about the people.
A culture of tolerance, not respect, huh?
Exactly. It all fell apart. Then there's this nonprofit leader. A perceived lack of transparency, boom, public relations nightmare.
So once trust is gone, it's really tough to come back from that.
Really tough. It's so much easier to maintain it than rebuild it, especially in leadership positions.
So we've got relatability, commonality, respect, trust. That's a solid base. But how do you actually put this into action?
That's where it gets exciting. Sutton has this concept, 4 levels of instant connection. It's about navigating the different depths of a conversation.
Ooh, 4 levels. I'm all ears. Break it down for me.
Think of it like a swimming pool. You don't cannonball into the deep end. You ease in.
Okay, test the waters first.
Right. So the first level is surface, initial interactions, greetings, small talk, setting the vibe, just dipping your toes in.
Gotcha, keeping it light. Then what?
Then you wade a little deeper, fact level, sharing some info, your work, hobbies, finding common ground.
Seeing if you've got any shared interests. Knocking it out.
Exactly. Then, if you're vibing, you move to opinions, sharing perspectives, beliefs, values. A bit more trust involved here.
This is where things could get tricky, right? Disagreements, all that.
Absolutely. But remember, it's not about winning an argument. It's about connection. Be respectful even if you don't see eye to eye.
So disagreeing is okay as long as it's respectful.
Exactly. And sometimes that shared passion, even with different opinions, can strengthen the bond. Now, the deep end, the feeling level.
Okay, this is where it gets real.
This is it. Sharing emotions, hopes, fears, dreams. The most authentic connections happen here, but it requires vulnerability and a lot of trust.
Makes me think of that saying, people won't remember what you said, but how you made them feel.
Spot on. It's about creating an emotional connection, showing your human side. But you don't jump straight to this level with a stranger,
Yeah,
right?
that'd be a little intense.
It's about reading the cues, their body language, their comfort level. It takes practice, but the more you do it, the better you get at knowing when to dive deeper.
This is fantastic stuff. We're getting a real sense of how to build rapport strategically, and there's so much more to uncover in Sutton's book. We'll be back in a moment to dive even deeper into these secrets of instant rapport.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into secrets of instant rapport. And, this next concept, it's really resonating with me lately. It's made a huge difference in my own relationships, both personally and professionally.
Okay, you got to tell me more. What is it?
Active listening. Sutton goes all in, dedicates a whole chapter to what he calls the eightfold path of active listening. It's like a roadmap to becoming a master listener.
I like that. A path. It's active, a journey, not just sitting there. What are some of those steps?
It starts with preparation, which might sound odd, preparation for listening, but it's crucial. Find a quiet space, no distractions. Mentally get yourself ready to be present.
I think that's where I slip up sometimes. Trying to listen while checking emails, scrolling through, and then I miss half of what they're saying.
Multitasking, it's a killer for real connection. Being present, that's what Sutton emphasizes. Also setting the tone, right from the get-go. A warm smile, eye contact, a friendly voice, those nonverbal cues that say, hey, I'm really interested in what you have to say.
It's like creating that safe space where they can be themselves, open up.
Exactly. And then ask open-ended questions. Not the yes or no kind, but the kind that gets them talking, sharing their thoughts and feelings.
So not, did you have a good weekend, but what was the highlight of your weekend?
Perfect. Give them space to tell their story.
And while they're talking, how do you really show you're listening? I catch myself drifting sometimes, thinking about what I'll say next, instead of really focusing.
Oh, we've all been there. It's so easy to do. But Sutton has tips. Nonverbal cues, like nodding, eye contact, little affirmations like, I see, or that's interesting.
So they know you're following along.
Yeah. And what about giving advice? That's a tricky one. Sutton's actually against unsolicited advice.
Oh, interesting.
Active listening is about support and understanding, not fixing their problems.
Just being there for them, letting them process without judgment.
Yes. And if you do feel like you have advice, ask permission first. Like, would you be open to my thoughts? Or do you want advice? Or just someone to listen?
That's a good approach. Respect our boundaries. So we've got active listening, but Sutton also talks about storytelling. How does that fit in?
It's a big one. He even quotes Seth Godin, who said, marketing is no longer about the stuff you make, but about the stories you tell. And that goes for building rapport, too. When we share stories, we're letting people into our world.
It's true. Stories are powerful. They captivate us, connect us on a deeper level.
Exactly. When we share personal stories, we're saying, I trust you enough to see this side of me, and then they're more likely to open up, too.
There's a balance, though, right? Don't want to overshare.
Right. Choose stories that fit the situation. Read the room. Sense what's appropriate. You wouldn't tell your deepest secret to someone you just met.
It's like you wouldn't wear a ball gown to a barbecue.
Yeah, exactly. Authenticity, but with discretion. Okay, but Sutton doesn't stop there. He gets into even more specific strategies. One that really got me thinking is this idea of invisible influence.
Invisible influence. Sounds kind of mysterious.
It's this idea that we're always influencing each other, even when we don't realize it. And if you understand these principles, you can be more intentional about building rapport.
Intriguing. I'm hooked. Tell me more.
It all boils down to a simple formula, PFDI. Proximity, frequency, duration, and relevance. Sometimes he calls it intimacy.
PFDI. Got it. Like a secret code. Break it down for me. What's proximity?
Proximity is physical or perceived closeness. Sutton uses this great example. This recruiter, Demetrius, trying to get this top executive, Hector. Demetrius finds out Hector goes to this specific gym.
So he joins the gym too.
You got it. Starts working out at the same time as Hector. But here's the thing. He doesn't approach him right away. Just make sure he's in the same space.
Playing it cool. Letting familiarity build naturally.
Exactly. That's the invisible part. Our minds are always scanning, even subconsciously. Hector might not have noticed Demetrius consciously, but his subconscious did.
Planting a seed. Okay, that's proximity. What about frequency?
Frequency is how often someone sees you or your message. Demetrius, he was at the gym consistently, multiple times a week, reinforced that subconscious recognition.
So show up regularly. Make your presence known. Gotcha. What about duration?
Duration is how long they're exposed to you or your message. Think of billboards. The longer you see it, the more it sticks.
So it's not just quick encounters, it's about interactions with some substance.
Exactly. Find that sweet spot. Engage them without overwhelming them. Okay, so that's proximity, frequency, duration. Now for the last piece, relevance or intimacy.
All right, lay it on me.
This is where it all comes together. Make sure what you offer, your message, your product, even just yourself, is relevant to their needs, their wants.
It's not just being present, it's being present in a way that matters to them.
Exactly. Understand their values, their goals, their pain points, and show how you can help them get what they want.
This PFDI formula, it's like a whole new way of thinking about influence. And I can see how this could be a real game changer, especially in business.
Oh, absolutely. But it's not just about influencing others. Sutton says the most powerful use of rapport is influencing yourself.
Now, that's really interesting. Influencing yourself. How does that even work? We'll have to dive into that after the break. All right, we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into secrets of instant rapport. Before the break, you mentioned Sutton talks about using rapport to influence yourself. That really got me thinking.
Yeah, it's a powerful idea, isn't it? It's like taking everything we've been talking about, the active listening, the stories, those 4 levels, and turning it inward.
So it's about becoming your own best friend, almost, like really understanding and supporting yourself.
Exactly. Cultivating that same respect and trust, but with yourself. Recognizing your strengths, your weaknesses, your feelings, being kind to yourself.
It's like when you have that strong self-rapport, you don't need constant validation from outside.
Right.
You're coming from a place of strength.
That's it. And Sutton argues this inner strength, this self-rapport, is actually crucial for achieving your goals.
Interesting. How so?
Well, when you're aligned with yourself, when you trust your gut and believe in your abilities, you're more likely to push through challenges, stay motivated, make choices that really resonate with you.
You know, I've been trying to be more aware of my self-talk lately, and I've noticed when I'm kinder to myself, focus on the good stuff, I do feel more confident, more capable.
There you go. That's self-rapport in action. It's about shifting that inner voice from criticism to compassion.
So how can our listeners start building this self-rapport? Are there things they can actually do?
Sutton has a bunch of suggestions: journaling, meditation, setting intentions, practicing gratitude.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out your core values and making choices that reflect those values.
Yeah, when you know what you stand for, what your purpose is, it's easier to make decisions that feel right, authentic.
Right. And that strengthens your self-rapport even more. It's a positive cycle. And as you build that inner foundation, it shows up in how you interact with others too. You're more confident, more genuine, more, well, magnetic.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of how to build stronger relationships.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the book, Sutton asks this really thought-provoking question. He says, what story can you share today to build rapport and create a lasting impact?
Wow, what a great question to leave us with. It's a challenge to think about what really matters to us, what we've learned, what we want to share.
It's about finding that story, that piece of yourself that can connect with someone else, make a difference, something to think about as you go out and practice all these amazing techniques.
Well said. It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise. And to our listeners, thanks for joining us for another deep dive into the world of human connection. Until next time, keep learning, keep connecting, and keep sharing your stories.